Hello YouTube, I've had a lot of requests on how I make my scenic bases for my Bayou gremlins. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go over what I use as far as material goes. Okay, very simple list. I have, of course, a base, and in this case I'm basing my mechanized pork chop. Green stuff, of course, primer, rhinox hide, bamboo forks, just plastic piece of wood, for better want of a term, and a tuft that I use as bulrushes. I will include a video on the end of this video on how to do the bulrushes. Mod Podge, super gloss, some gravel, medium or coarse ballast works great. Fine turf, and I do use the earth colored fine turf. And then I have Army Painter's green grass scatter terrain. I love this stuff. I don't know what it's made of, but it absorbs a lot less glue than the turf does by Woodland Scenics. And then last but not least on my list of things I need is swamp tufts. Now, as far as just your large bits of debris that's going to go around the base, anything will work. These are what I personally use. But as you can see, you can kind of pick it up and change it to your own requirements. So, first thing I do is I'm going to mix up some green stuff. Now the green stuff, in this case, we aren't going to use a lot. Or you could use a lot. This just kind of depends. This is the most artistic portion of the entire base making process. And I'm probably going to fast forward through me mixing stuff with my fingers, or even cut this. Then I roll my putty into a snake. And I begin building up just random rises and hills. And what this will represent is the dry ground outside of the swamp itself. I am doing a 50mm base, so I usually don't use this much green stuff when I'm doing this, when I'm doing a standard 30mm base. But I wanted to do a 50mm base so that you could have a little bit better view of what I'm doing. Again, make a snake out of it. And I am going to leave a void in the center of this one, and that is going to actually be our low-lying areas that is full of swamp water, what have you. Modeling tool, indispensable. So I've made a couple of low-lying areas and a couple of high-lying areas. That's the basic. This is the very basic shape I make for my swamp bases. Putting that down. My next step is that I have these bamboo party forks. DM Scotty said I needed these for a bridge. Or at least I made a bridge that I copied off of him with them. But what I did notice is this being bamboo, not wood, is it shaves in a very nice even pieces when I want to shave it down. And what I'm doing with this is I'm kind of making like a boardwalk slash just a board out in the swamp. It gives me a nice flat place in which to mount my models. And I cut them off at random lengths. You can even break one if you want. Then to put this in the basing material, I just simply press them in firmly, and I leave random size gaps. After all, this is Gremlins building this, right? Okay, first step. Then I also, if I'm going to use ballast, and I don't use ballast or gravel in every base, but I wanted to use it in this case just to show you. I grab just a pinch of ballast, and then what I like to do is on one side or the other of the inlet is I just push my ballast. Like thus. So the ballast sticks in the green stuff, and if some falls out or it moves a little, that's okay. It's just going to give us extra texture when we're done. Okay, I'm going to move the pig out of the way. Then last thing I'm going to put in the base itself is I'm going to add a little stick here. So I'm just trimming it to size. I want to leave at least 2 branches though, so it actually looks like wood. And because where I got this is fake plants. It's just a stem off of a fake plant that you'd use for floral arrangements. The nice thing about it is it already has a texture like wood, so I don't have to texturize it. And again, I'm just going to push that firmly into my green stuff. If you can see what I'm doing, let me hold this up so you can see a little bit better. I am leaving one of the limbs up, so it looks like maybe a piece of wood that got knocked over in the swamp and then semi-submerged underneath the overgrowth. Okay, there you have it. There is a basic base done just like that. Next thing I do is I prime it. I use a brush-on primer that I have watered down 1:1, and I like to use the Panzer Gray by Vallejo. Almost said Raul Partha. Wow, I'm showing my age. Okay. This is just a throwaway brush I have. And I'm just really quickly doing a very quick base coat. And I'm just covering the entire base, of course, in my gray. Again, I'm probably going to speed through this part. Okay, the entire thing is base coated. We'll let it dry for a few minutes and we'll come back.